In this video, I'm going to show you just my basic setup, materials that I'm using, and how I'm going to approach organizing for the monochromatic figure painting. As you can see here, I have a grayscale that I mixed. This is a really good tool to use, especially when you're trying to evaluate like the relative lightness or darkness of tones that you're going to be painting. In this case, this is an 11-step value scale, so 0 being the black, 10% all the way through 100% being pure white. Notice that the 50% gray, how it looks relatively dark to the lighter halftones and how it looks relatively light to the darker halftones. So I use this scale to evaluate the tonality of the photograph, which I've chosen, and I'll show you that shortly. You basically want to create a even more limited version of this for your painting. I recommend mixing 3 values in the lighter halftones and 2 values in the shadow halftones. So basically what I've done is I've started at 90 and just skipped every other step. So I mixed a 90, 70, a 50, a 30, and a 10. I have pure black and pure white also set aside, but I'm going to try and compress the value scale to keep it in from those extremes so that if I have to go lighter or darker, I can always do so. But once you exhaust that full limitation of light and dark, there's nowhere else to go, and it can flatten out the painting. So I'm going to try and control the values of the painting more or less within this 11-step scale. So I've got these mixtures set aside here that I've pre-mixed based on this scale, and I've evaluated the photographs. So the lighting is mainly in the 90% range, 85% range, 70% is more the lighter halftones, 50% as it approaches the terminator masses, 30% as it is in the shadow, and then the occlusions are in the 10% range. I've got titanium white here in a large tube. I've got ivory black in a smaller tube. Bone black. I've got my linseed oil, which I've made into a medium, mixing it 50% linseed oil with 50% mineral spirits. This is mineral spirits in a jar here for just thinning the paint, cleaning the brushes. I've got a variety of shapes and sizes of oil painting brushes. They're basically between 4 and 8. And there's rounds, as you can see here, and there's flats here, which are great for drawing in the initial sketch. I've got mixing blade, trowel shape, which I think is perfect for this exercise. In fact, this is what I prefer when I'm painting in general. I've got a grayscale palette. I have my glass palette here if I want to transfer things back and forth. I have a tube ringer here, which helps me get all the paint out of the tube. I've got my paper towels, which I'll be cleaning up my brushes with as I work here. This is just, Bounty from Target. And I've got my favorite nitrile gloves here, which I highly recommend. They're really comfortable. They don't smell, they're not irritating. They're a beautiful color. They're called Touch and Tough by Ansel, and you can buy them on Amazon, but they're fantastic. I highly recommend them. All right, so this concludes this brief portion of my just describing my setup, and I will see you shortly in the demo video.